Hello, this is Deutsche here. We're going to do a bit of a chill league today, and I'm joined by a very special guest in the form of Goldrock. Hello, how are you?
Hey James, how's it going?
It's good, man. It's
Pretty
good. So, for those of you who are a bit newer to the community, you might not recognize the name Goldrock, but he is a stalwart veteran of the deck. You were championing it really hard, sort of just as Top was in, just as Top went out, as we sort of tried to innovate around Top's loss. I mean, you were streaming pretty regularly, quite, and putting out some good video content. And yeah, Karen.
Those are some kind words.
Yeah, and then obviously you had some big life stuff, and you kind of dropped off, I think, Magic and Legacy for a bit. And now you're kind of coming slowly easing back into it, as it were.
No better way to do it than with you. Right?
Yeah,
good way to do this.
So you've obviously been trying a few things. You've done a couple of videos that I'll link to as well. But you've been having a go with the predict builds, or a predict build. What are your...
Right now I'm on 2 predict, 2 Limdol's Vault. I think I'm really interested to see the difference between Personal Tutor and Limdol's Vault today.
Yeah.
So definitely excited to see that today.
Yeah, so this here is what I've been sort of playing in leagues for the last couple of weeks. With the Mythic token, it means I can actually play on Modo for a bit.
Nice.
And it's my first time with these last couple of leagues trying this Personal Tutor build, what is colloquially termed the Turbo build. There's me doing air commas despite the fact no one can see my camera, that I don't have. So basically this means you cut some number of sort of cantrips and slower protection spells and shove in three Personal Tutor. Some people do 4, some people up the number of Street Wraith to go with it. I like 3 Personal Tutor, 2 Preordained to sort of balance it out a bit more. And this basically aims to try and get Doomsday on the stack as quickly as possible, turn 1, turn 2, really consistently. So this kind of replaces what you would have as the Limdol's Vault slot, and we're running the Ideas Unbound instead of Predict because I think it's a lot more consistent and a lot more useful in piles, but obviously Predict has some extra value you can use outside of piles.
Right, that's kind of why I've tried to side towards that. I don't usually like putting Ideas Unbound on the stack in the overall game.
Yeah. I mean,
so,
sometimes
definitely curious.
Sometimes against the fair grindy decks, you do just need to do a big old Luton, big old blue Luton for 3.
Definitely, especially when you have when the game's dragged out for so long and you have the mana to make like a really explosive turn, for sure.
So the other bit that's different for quite a lot of people is I'm real greedy. Some people are playing straight blue black, some people are playing Grixis, some people are playing Bug. I'm just picking all the colours. I love the
best of all worlds.
Yeah, exactly. So you'll see that the main deck is, other than the occasional hardcast Edge of Autumn, completely blue black. And then it's only in the sideboard that we start kind of going to the toolbox of the different colours available. So out of the 2 splashes...
Have you cast Edge of Autumn after a Brainstorm for the shuffle?
I have. Fortunately, I have.
There is some use there, right?
Yeah. So of the splashes, the green splash is the heaviest one. So that's why we've got 2 green jewels and only 1 red. And the red one doesn't come in at all when we're sort of under duress by like Wasteland and stuff. So we effectively are, against most decks, going to be straight blue black or Bug, and then against the slow greedy decks we can be even greedier.
Right.
Whereas it's possible. So any questions about the deck at all? Any card choices you're like, what's he talking about here?
Can we talk about Personal Tutor a little more?
Yeah, we can talk about Personal Tutor.
I just want to kind of, I guess we'll see once we get some games going, but under what circumstance do you usually fire it off? Like, do you just cast it as soon as you get it, or do you wait until you know you could combo off?
Yeah,
maybe you could get into that a little bit.
So like, if you've got a hand where you've already got, say, Underground Sea, Ritual, cantrip, and then maybe a bit of protection, then you probably see turn 1 Personal Tutor, get the Doomsday as soon as possible because you're ready to rock and roll. If maybe you don't have the ritual, you've only got 1 land, maybe like a force or 2, then it might be better to ponder first of all. However, it still sometimes is just better to Personal Tutor, because once you've got the Doomsday in hand, then all this ponder needs to find is a Dark Ritual or one of the many mana sources, Lotus Petals. So, getting 3 black is normally easier than getting 1 Doomsday, just because of the redundancy you've got in the list.
Have you tutored for a discard spell, or maybe even Ideas Inbound?
Yeah, sometimes it's correct to tutor for a discard spell, sometimes for a ponder, sometimes for Edge of Autumn.
Really?
Because
I see. Wow.
You just need, the mana efficiency draw spell for the Doomsday you've got. And sometimes it does allow you to get things like the Massacre from the sideboard. I know a lot of people are a bit heavier into sideboard targets for Personal Tutor, but I'm not a sort of big fan. So instead of what's that the split card from Amonkhet, I think it was the one where it's
something about Oblivion.
Yeah, consign Oblivion. Consign to Oblivion.
That's it.
So that one is normally run because you can Personal Tutor for it, because the back half is a sorcery. But you use it as a bounce spell for sort of problem permanence. However, most of the time, Force of Negation, Decay, Force of Will, Daze, they can take care of those permanents for you. So it's not going to be too big an issue, really. And a lot of people, in fact, don't even bother with sort of permanent hate, because they just load up on forces and just charge straight into it.
I see. Looks like you have the 2nd Street Wraith, and I think I would imagine having more cyclers is good with the Personal Tutors.
Yeah, so it lets you more often grab whatever you search for Personal Tutor for the same turn. I found it also lets you do really mana efficient piles, or piles which have to play around things like Mindbreak Trap. Are quite important. And in the mirror, quite often this increases your win cons once your Doomsdays are surgically extracted to 2 creatures as opposed to 1. Something that gets annoyingly important quite consistently.
Sounds like it's happened to you before.
Yeah.
Wow.
When both parties are just staring at each other with a Street Wraith on the board, you know you've reached peak magic as Garfield intended.
Yeah, you end up losing a lot of life through
you do.
Fetch the Plants, Thoughtseize, Surgical maybe.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that Street Wraith will get there eventually.
So, right, should we jump into a league then? We'll see how we go.
Can we talk about the sideboard a little bit?
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah, I just kind of want to feel out what you're siding in for which matchups.
Okay, pick a matchup and we'll go for a bit of a boarding strat.
Why don't we talk about Delver? That one's always a tricky one.
So you'll notice the deck is called Zero Respect because I was basically like fed up of dedicating 6 or so sideboard cards to Delver and still losing to it. So I was like, sod it, I'll just ignore the matchup. So
I think that's what the Carpet of Powers is there for.
Yeah, I mean, it should be like a modicum of respect to Doomsday rather than 0 respect.
Okay. 0 sounds way cooler though.
Yeah, exactly. So the Carpets come in, maybe we bring in a couple of Veils or a Flusterstorm, sometimes 1 Decay in case I just want to hedge against the Tormod's, not the Torpor Orb, but a lot of the time I don't bother. And basically, I just do very light boarding. Some PTs come out, Street Wraith comes out, Thoughtseize occasionally comes out. I have kind of loose sideboard maps in my head, and then as we play, I tend to sort of sometimes deviate 1 or 2 cards from them. But basically, it'll just be a very light touch and just rely on, because the games you win against Delver are the games where you early Dark Ritual Doomsday anyway. So
I found that to be the case too.
Yeah, so I figure I might as well just stick with plan A, have a little bit to try and help that, and if it doesn't work, that's fine. I'm okay with that.
Is Ideas Inbound something that you keep it against Delver?
Oh yes, I keeping ideas abound, keeping LED.
Okay.
Because basically I just want to go fast, and sometimes I will just take the risk, because if they have it, they have it. You know, if Doomsday resolves, most of the time they don't have another bit of interaction unless you've kept one mana open the entire time, in which case you do have to respect days. But you know, you can play around that, and yeah, normally it's lightning bolt that gets you.
Totally, actually. Yeah, that's a surprisingly potent spell against this deck.
Yeah. Turns out halving your life total, not a good plan. Not a good plan.
Especially when they have a 3/2.
Oh yeah.
Staring down at you. Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, are there matchups where you do side out the Ideas Unbound and or Lionside Diamond?
Sometimes I will side out Lionside Diamond. I don't think there's any matchup I would side out Ideas Unbound.
I see. Okay.
That I can think of, at least.
Now I do notice both Veil of Summer and Pyroblast REB. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, sure. So Veil is obviously really good against decks that pack in discard, against other combo decks, against fair decks as well. So like against say Ant or Tess, you probably bring in all three. Against something like some Dirty Snowpile, I might bring in 2, and then supplement it with the 2 Pyroblasts as well. Yeah, the Pyroblasts obviously are really good against things like Urza Echo, where they're, you know, mono blue and stuff, but Veils don't really do anything.
Days isn't quite enough for that matchup either.
So like so if you take the Urza Echo deck, you probably want to bring in Decays, Pyroblasts, and Force Negations, because they've got so many big heavy hitters, and you have to balance between being able to fight against the blue threats like, you know, Hull Breacher and Narset, the threats like Khan, which are obviously really annoying, and the things like Chalice. So you have to have kind of tools for a bit of everything, which leads to this very greedy looking pile, but they don't actually put your mana base under duress, so quite a lot of time you can get away with sort of having a bit of everything.
What's coming out for these cards?
Against Urza Echo, discard is normally very bad, so probably take out these 4. You know, Street Wraith is an easy shave, and then maybe a Daze. Maybe a Personal Tutor as well, but probably not.
I see. Anything else I have questions? Oh, maybe we could talk about the Surgical Tormod's Crypt.
Yeah. So I know a lot of people are advocating just disrespect the graveyard, which totally fine. Kind of into that, because the deck is really good against sort of a lot of the classic graveyard decks. However, as someone who's been, you know, sucker punched by a Cephalid Colosseum one too many times, you've just gotta have something. And I think the board mapping allows for those slots to be open, and I'm happy with the sort of one of each. Surgical and Crypt both are relatively quick enough that they come down early enough when supplemented with, you know, your forces and stuff against your graveyard decks. You can also tutor for them with your Doomsday. Right. So if you need to, so for example, Crypt obviously turns off Threshold very nicely.
Does.
And yeah, like Surgical has other sort of benefits, such as In the Mirror, which is becoming more and more frequent. It used to be a bit of a meme mentioning the Doomsday Mirror, but now it is a legitimate thing you need to have a plan for. So
part of the reason why I've leaned towards the Predict build, but not totally why I'm playing that card. I've seen some people commit a full 4 slots to Graveyard Hate. I think I've seen
ley lines is normally the
just a set of ley lines. So right now I'm playing 3. I'm playing 2 Surgicals and 1 Tormod's Crypt. Crypt is definitely very good for pastern piles. Rather than just getting into your combo, you could just cantrip and play out the Crypt. It's so convenient that it's 0 mana.
For sure. And a lot of decks where you might think you want them in, you probably just don't bring them in. Like a lot of people consider like a versus Hogaak decks bringing in graveyard hate.
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
think that's a trap. I think you just leave those at home for the time being and focus on things like Veil for the matchup.
I would imagine the black spell, the discard spells are the ones that you want to play around.
Yeah, discard spells and Hedron Crab.
Ew.
Yeah,
That
exactly.
one too.
So for
Conveniently blue.
For BUG Hogaak, Veil's probably come in, Pyroblast probably come in, maybe an Abrupt Decay or two because of, what's the artifact? Sack, mill equal to power.
Altar of Dementia.
Altar of Dementia, yeah, because of that one.
I see.
Yeah.
Seems like Death and Taxes is just covered by Massacre alone.
Yeah, Massacre, 2 Decay, nice and easy.
Are you comfortable exposing dual lands for the sake of running Decay in that matchup?
Yeah, absolutely. Because sometimes, like a lot of time, you will just get everything together before they can amount any sort of hate.
Definitely.
If they do amount the hate, like a Sanctum Prelate, for example, and you don't have one of the forces, you do need a clean answer to it, and I think diversifying your answers is good, especially against, for example, the Espervile decks, like when they start running Meddling Mage or similar.
Right. You could put them in a pile just in case.
Yeah, you could.
Either whether it be Massacre or Decay.
Yeah. So
definitely some utility there. One Flusterstorm. I think that's the one card we haven't talked about yet.
Yeah, I mean, it does what it does, and it does it well.
Yeah, it does.
It's it's good against some fair decks. It's good against some unfair decks. It's good against things like Reanimator. It's good against Tess or Ant or Doomsday. So it's just a really nice spell to have. Sometimes this could be a spell pierce if there's a lot more like planeswalkers that you care about going around, but at the moment I think Flusterstorm is good enough as it is.
In my experience, the REBs take care of the walkers pretty well, because most of the ones that we care about are blue.
That's true. I think the notable exception is probably Karn.
Oh yeah, that one's pretty annoying.
Yeah. That I think is the exception to the majority rule there.
I've struggled against Alurin and Karn, and I can imagine how Spell Pierce would help with those two cards as well.
Yeah, for sure.
Do you use Flusterstorm in the Delver matchup?
Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. It depends how I'm feeling.
I see, because it pushes through a Stifle pretty well.
Yeah, it's sometimes it takes up one of the Veil slots if I don't want to bring in all three Veils.
Yeah. Are there matchups where you side out all of the Dazes?
I don't think there's a matchup where I side out all the Dazes. I sometimes shave on them, but there's a lot of big heavy hitters that even if you're on the draw, just being able to sort of mana efficiently deal with their 3-drop is really important.
Right, totally.
And it gets you a lot of value, especially in this day of age where like a lot of the classical more fair decks are just like tapping out for haymakers.
It does make Daze very good.
Yeah.
Having ideas inbound with Daze is nice as well. As one who's on Predict, sometimes I do wish there was a third card that I could draw that is either a discard spell or a Daze. So I do like having. I do see why having 4 Dazes or like some number of them is good. All right, I think that's about it.
Cool.
As far as the deck goes. Yeah, let's run into.
Let's see how it goes.
Yeah.
So, let's make sure I've got the right one selected. There. Throw some pay points in, and let's see how we go. So we can, obviously we've got some big shoes to chase after. We've got Monkeys Can't Cry on the leaderboard. Yeah, he's pretty good on the Doomsday.
I hear he's pretty good. Yeah.
Clog, he does jump about decks, but I know he's got a lot of Doomsday under his belt that he's played.
I see.
All right, match 1.
Here you go.
Okay, Lord Berus. Now I know that name. That's a well-known
It's a familiar
grinder.
name. Oh.
Right, and this looks like a pretty decent hand. We've got some cantrips.
So. Yeah.
Got some protection. Got a Street Wraith to turn into a mystery card.
Looks like we're on the draw. Should be all right.
We're against something blue. So I think I'm probably just gonna play a Preordain here.
Likely.
Yeah. And just try and find a bit of mana. Maybe a combo piece if we hit it. Nice. So we'll probably keep the ritual.
I'd say so, yeah.
And shove the extraneous cantrip away. There's a lot of argument to just aggressively cycling the Street Wraith before we play the Underground Sea, which gives us the opportunity to, maybe play a fetch first instead.
It shapes what the cantrips are looking for. That's a really good card.
Okay, so I think we're against Rug Delver.
I didn't realize that library was something that they were main decking.
Yeah.
What do you think about cycling the Street Wraith now? It looks like you're about to do it.
Yeah, I think happy to do that because I really want to find a land before I commit another cantrip in. But I'm happy to do this. And it's very likely they might aggressively daze here because we haven't committed the land to the board.
We do see Snow-Covered Island, so I wonder if we'll see that card in tandem with Wasteland, but we'll see. Thinking about this one.
Yeah. So, okay, that one goes through.
Cool.
And we find a kind of decent set of cards here, I think. I don't think we want a personal tutor. Well, we can't really personal tutor this turn unless we do something aggressive with this Lotus Petal. So I think we're just going to grab the land, play it, and say go. Although there is some arguments to maybe instead just fetching here and using one of our other cantrips and try and find the Doomsday that way. Any preference on which?
Oh, I see. I thought you had passed the turn already.
No, we've got a second main for such decisions like this.
The Personal Tutor does guarantee the Doomsday, but I feel like if we go ahead and cantrip here, we are being more mana efficient, especially since we are holding a Thoughtseize.
Yeah.
The mana source that is coming up is just a Lotus Petal.
So actually, I think your words have convinced me. I'm gonna fetch here, grab a second sea, and maybe cast this Preordain.
I'm just playing devil's advocate here, but why not Ponder?
Because I think Ponder's kind of better if you've got like a fetch land. I like having a daze here.
Interact with any upcoming Uros.
Yeah, well, if they cast an Uro, I think, very likely we just ignore it.
At that point, it's just a 3-mana cantrip, huh?
Yeah, very likely they would take 4 or take 8 from this library this turn because we've cycled a Street Wraith and we played cantrip, so they should know what we're on.
Right.
And they know that their life total is not going to be under pressure from us. Okay. There we go. Yeah, just snap, keep 8.
Without
take 8.
Without pause. Well, there's that creature we were talking about.
It's true. So actually, I think I might daze this just because if this kind of lands, they're going to have a land to pay for the daze anyway.
Right, right. That's the annoying part of that about this creature.
Yeah. So
when it comes to days.
Yeah. So this way, we're just gonna, throw this out. Hopefully hit Doomsday or ponder into Doomsday, and then this is also a really good opportunity to thought seize them.
Right.
And we found another force, which is really nice.
Which means we could use this ponder freely.
Yeah. Okay, so there's a couple of things here that are a bit annoying. So we probably shuffle this. Find Street Wraith. Cycle the Street Wraith. Because we're just looking for that Doomsday here. And our opponent's tanking quite a lot on some of these decisions. I wonder if they're also streaming and talking at the same time.
I think they're just heaving a sigh of relief knowing that both of our street rates are out of the way.
That's fair.
Being at 11 is...
Well, with an Uro in the yard, I don't think Street Wraith is going to become an issue to them.
Okay. Okay, fair point.
Okay, so we found a Duress, which is fine.
I think we just go ahead and fire one of them off.
Yeah. So yeah, they are your stereotypical control deck. I'm actually tempted to take Snapcaster Mage here with this Thoughtseize.
Why is that?
Because Duress can't take Snapcaster, and they have to sort of hold this. They have to hold one of these blue cards for Force of Will, and we've got forces to help fight over that.
Plus, we have the second Duress anyway.
Yeah.
I see your point. They did pay life fairly aggressively, which, I mean, they're kind of forced into that position. They don't have any cantrips in the yard quite yet.
We could also just take Uro, so stop them being able to sort of... Well, actually, that's probably bad. Yeah, that's probably bad. I think I'm going to...
I mean, either which way, they already have one Uro in the yard.
Yeah.
So, technically, taking the second one doesn't change too much, I think. Snapcaster does present a clock of some sort. And we are at 13. Kind of 12 with the Force of Will.
Yeah, I mean, this is where the opponent just slams the Triskaidekaphobia, right? And we
should have the days for that one.
Yeah. So this is the hero. We say, fine, you got it.
This means Ice Fang.
So we...
Yeah, Doomsday here means we're in business.
We know their hand because they played the Vista for turn.
Did not pay life either.
Okay, so...
Do we brainstorm or do we wait?
I think we brainstorm. We can't be punished by a hull breacher here.
Good point.
Yeah, if we get locked here, I don't think we were winning the game anyway. And the main awkwardness is our mana. So we do find the Doomsday, which is really nice. So what we can do here is put back Island. So if their only interaction is still that Force of Will, that's really good. They can get another draw from the Ice Fang. So what we can do is...
They're committed to pitching the Ice Fang to the Force of Will, right?
Yeah. So here we'll just fetch up the third C. Duress them, and then Dark Ritual Doomsday for a pass the turn pile. We could have...
I was wondering if... Go ahead.
So, yeah, so we could have kept we could have actually thrown away a Force of Will and the island, and then just relied on Duress and go for a same turn win with Edge, Cycle, Crack LED. But if I don't know, I just feel a bit safer. I mean, actually, it's probably wrong because we, in theory, know their entire hand. So
Right.
I might have just thought
I was
myself.
actually thinking that we put Island Duress back
Okay.
and just depend on them forcing the Doomsday and us just pitching Force to Force, and then we're left with Edge of Autumn and LED.
Yeah.
So we could just kind of secure this turn.
Yeah, that works as well.
I think this is fine.
The only problem here now is... Oh, actually, no, it's not a problem. So we can, in fact, win the same turn now if we do Dark Ritual Doomsday, they force, and we don't commit the Duress before we Doomsday, because we can cycle into Brainstorm and use the Duress as our +1 card. And
That's a good point.
they can't
like
interact because they don't have the white mana currently for swords.
I like that.
So we will do that. So Iceman Coatl goes. So we know the hand.
So this still sets up for a Brainstorm pile then.
It does, and as we say, they don't have white mana open, so we can just do the quintessential grab Preordain. It does between Preordain and Ponder. It doesn't actually matter. Now we do need a Street Wraith as well. So,
And then a Brainstorm? Is that right?
I thought I clicked one of those already. Okay, so cycle into Brainstorm, Brainstorm into Street Wraith, Preordain, LED, put back Duress, Preordain, play LED, cycle Street Wraith, cast Preordain, put Oracle on top, cast Oracle.
Sounds good.
Okay. And loaf total is okay for this sort of thing. Man, they're really tanking. I honestly thought we had a lot of decision points we talked over a bit too much, but we seem to be up in clock, so I'm interested by that. So I cast this Brainstorm, put back Duress, Preordain, cast the LED, hold down Control, very important. Cycle the Street Wraith, crack for blue, draw Preordain, cast Preordain, put Duress on the bottom, Oracle on the top, draw Oracle, and then cast Oracle.
Alright. Nice and easy.
Yeah. So, this is a matchup where we go full greed, I think. Although we are going to respect, because we saw their Bant, so very likely they've got meddling mages. So we are going to probably bring in something like this. So some decays to deal with whatever permanent hate they bring in. Personal tutors aren't great in the fair blue matchups, so we'll shave those. Probably shave a daze. I can't really shave petals because I'm 4 colors.
I see. So use them as fixing in a way.
Yeah, so here...
Are we anticipating any veils on their end?
Veil is probably likely, but discard is still really quite strong against them. So I might... it's tempting to cut the second Street Wraith. A lot of people might cut the Preordain. I like having a cantrip density.
I do as well.
Because, you know, you need to find the right tool for the job. So I might cut the second. I'd cut 2 days, I think, here. And we'll just try with this. Quite a lot of the time, these weird blue control decks have a myriad of oddities in. So I like this hand. It's got Cavern and Oracle in, which is a bit awkward, but we've got some cantrips, we've got plenty of mana to find what we need, and we're on the draw. And hopefully he's on Bant and not 4-color, no red, so we're not going to be punished by like Thoughtseize.
Great. Island to start. Pretty good.
Okay.
Right. Found ourselves some more mana.
Okay, so let's see if he's a Stifle deck. Oh, sorry, I should say they. A bit presumptuous there. And we're not here to respect Back to Basics or Wasteland. We're just here to get Underground Seas. Okay.
Wow.
Pretty aggressive.
In some ways, it works out for them. I think we needed the preordained to give us a little more information. Interesting that they have Spell Pierce in a deck that I would imagine is more geared towards the late game.
Yeah, it might be a sideboard card. So in matchups where the early game, they might feel like they're under pressure a bit. So here, very likely a library or an or a Quattle. Yeah. So not much we can do about that.
Yeah, that card is so strong.
Okay.
It's a brainstorm turn.
Yeah. So let's see what we find. And we've got 2 cards that are really nice to throw away. Ooh, not a great brainstorm there. It's got to be said. So we're a little inundated with mana here. I'm kind of tempted to keep Oracle in hand for the time being.
I don't mind that.
So I think I'm gonna throw away this Swamp.
We already have the Dark Ritual, so I like that.
Yeah.
Just...
We're just gonna preemptively fetch, and we probably won't duress yet.
They are tapped out.
They are,
which means
but
that
they are also about to draw 3.
True. So you'd rather check after the library act. Okay.
And we're going to play out 1 petal. Okay, so currently they're in a very commanding position. They've got active library, we've got a lot of mana. So they're very aggressive. Yeah, and then again they just straight up take 8 because there's no downside really. There's back to basics, which is fine because we've got a lot of land and a lot of mana. Okay,
it's like we've got even more.
Yeah, we'll just play Volk.
Nothing wrong with presenting the Pyroblast here, which I guess could come in handy at this point. Yeah, that Spell Pierce was surprising.
Yeah, it might be. They are being real aggressive, going down to 2.
Let me tell you, maybe we should have kept that cavern so that we could just run it out and start attacking.
Maybe I should be running bolts. I mean, yeah, it makes sense they're doing this if they've got the Uro in hand. But I do kind of wish this was just lightning bolt here. So with that on the stack, we just fire it off. And notice they're actually playing around days this time, so good on them. Bit of learning. So what we can do here is we can probably just use the Volk for Ponder, and again they might Spell Pierce this, or Flusterstorm, if they're running that. Again, we find nothing but mana. And a bit of duff card there. So we just play a land, so go. And they're pretty close to flashing out this Uro back, aren't they?
And it's online.
So what we're going to do is we're just going to rebuy a land here, I think, and get some value out of our days. So the days playing around back to basics is a trick I've picked up from Delver players, actually. And again, I just wish I had a lightning bolt right now, or tendrils. Tendrils would be perfect here. Okay, so Uro's coming down. Fine.
It's 3 turns.
3 turns.
Not great.
So we've got 3 turns. They've got a big old hand, ability to draw 2 cards next turn with impunity, and we are drawing a lot of mana here, which I have to say suboptimal, one might say. So we kind of need a god tier brainstorm, I think, to get us out of this, as our first one was lacking this game.
Wait.
And I can only imagine our opponent's hand is, as they say, stacked with protection. So I don't think this duress is going to do much in the face of what they've got going.
Gives us an idea for game 3. Oh boy.
Okay, so actually we won't do this, because if we find the Doomsday, we do need a cantrip effect as well.
Right.
And we've got another turn or so. Okay, Hull Breacher.
Do we?
Get some value.
Big decisions.
Yeah.
Recyclers.
Okay. Oh, nice. So we find a brainstorm. So
Something.
fire this up now. It's not looking good. We
Do we still want this oracle?
I think we just concede here,
I think
because
so.
the whole breacher resolving means we can't like get into the pile properly at the same time. So I think on the play we bring back the 2 daisies that we took out, and probably take out. Do you know what? I think I'm just gonna.
Those help with the hull breachers and the back to basics.
So does the pyroblast.
And I guess if we're playing faster, it's the daisies come in handy.
And on the play, this lets us. I mean, they're probably not going to play into it, but it does potentially let us sort of cantrip turn 1,
True.
Get ahead, take out their library, unless they delay the library to turn 3.
Carpet wasn't really a consideration for this matchup, was it?
No, not at all. Mana is not the problem I worry about against these sort of decks.
We did see Spell Pierce.
We did.
I wonder if... And it does help against back to basics in a sense.
I mean, we could consider just try and go full bug. So take out the Rebs, bring in 1 decay, and then the 3rd Veil.
Right.
So our opponent might be changing up their boarding here. Okay.
Or just taking their sweet time as usual.
This seems good. Seems like a nice hand. It's got a lot of interaction. Early cantrip to find the Doomsday, so we're probably going to ponder looking for Doomsday.
We have lands, but I think we're better off with a shuffle.
Yeah. Okay.
Mana.
Just leave that for now. So our opponent is very likely just going to play a Lancigo. Oh, okay. Sure. Okay, so this is really good. If we find a Doomsday, we can just go off with all the protection spells. We don't, so we play that to keep Veil open for whatever, and fire this off. Okay, so they are running various things. So we could take Fon, we could take Force, we could take Veil. Probably the key ones. So Veil, we could utilize Daze to try and stop Veil from being a thing. But it might be a bit awkward. Our Veil stops their forces, so I'm tempted to take Veil and just make them use cards in hand to defend, I think. And again, we just need to find that Doomsday, and we're good to go. So they're probably trying to assess why we've taken Veil over their forces. They might reason that it's because we've got more discard to throw at them.
Okay, question. I don't know if this is relevant or not. Are we dazing this Coatl?
Probably not.
Does put us back to 0 lands.
Yeah, I mean, the number of lands currently isn't the problem. It's just finding something to do with our mana. Okay, so now we need to be concerned about Hull Breacher. So... Okay, so if they've got Hull Breacher, this is the perfect time for them to try and throw it down. They might also really aggressively Fon.
That's good for us.
Well, they've just paid 3 mana, so it's not actually that great. But we will make use of today's while we can.
Now we're guaranteed a land drop.
Okay, so nonetheless, we'll put back the Ritual and a C. Play the Delta. And again, I'm not going to play around back to basics. I don't think. Not while we've got the second Delta in hand. Maybe
We do have the Dark Ritual.
Yeah,
I think
maybe,
the only...
Maybe I can then.
Like, we need to hold up green for Veil, probably, but...
yeah, this petal can be our Veil.
Yeah, it's got our green covered.
They might have a Surgical in hand.
2, 3, 4,
5. I still think I'll grab a C though.
It's probably fine.
I'll also cycle this Street Wraith. Okay, so I am the king of flooding out, by the way. I don't know if you've noticed. I always try and play land.
Hopefully just for this round.
Yeah, well, hopefully for not much longer.
Right.
Okay, so this is Uro, I would guess. Yeah. So we just let that happen. King for 1. Okay. And we're just gonna fire this off. Hopefully they don't have another veil. They do not. They do have back to basics. They do have Jace, and
They
do
probably
have
don't want to be
Force Will.
casting this back to basics.
No, not with double
They
tropical
themselves.
islands.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
maybe we just take the Jace.
Jace, taking Jace.
So taking Jace will basically mean they are guaranteed to cast this Uro next turn.
Right.
But they probably are going to be doing that anyway.
They're going for Uro rather than Jace.
Yeah.
In which case, we could take their Force of Will and then force whatever's coming down. I don't know.
Yeah.
Because like if we find the Doomsday, we could use Veil to protect that.
Yeah, I think we'll actually take Jace. We'll
Okay.
we'll try and tell them what they need to do. And if back to basics is thrown down, I think we just let that resolve.
We've held up this Delta. It's okay.
Yeah, and they've got double trop, so they're probably going to commit Uro to the board before they commit back to basics to the board.
Oh, interesting. Ponder.
Unless they're just doing it now. To Fairy. Okay. So this is one we do kind of have to fight over, unfortunately. Because otherwise it nullifies everything else we're doing.
It's not the worst if this draws out their Force of Will either.
Yeah, although if they're smart, they probably shouldn't force here. Yeah. So I agree with what they just did. Okay, so we do know their hand, right? Because they cast Ponder.
We should.
Yeah.
All right now.
Okay, so we
Not
find
the worst.
Preordain. Actually, we probably should have played Trop and cast Preordain off Trop there. I wonder if they're considering forcing this.
And if they do, are you gonna Veil back?
Yeah, I think I will. Because it's with what they've got in hand, you know. We do need to find something at some point. Okay, so put that on the bottom, put that on the top. Commit the tropical island down. Although what we'll probably do is fetch the island and cast this Ponder off the island. Okay, it's not the worst set of cards. We've got a Pyroblast. The problem is none of these are Doomsday.
Right.
And delaying on Doomsday is probably going to cost us the game. However, it does give us the Pyroblast to defend against the back to basics.
Mm-hmm.
If
And
we
get a
even want to, yeah. So, are we shuffling this or are we not?
I'm still thinking about it. It places a lot of weight on this brainstorm, that's for sure.
It does, but 3 cards is better than one card, right?
This Pyroblast does help us take care of, yeah, like you said, the back to basics or the Uro.
Yeah, although actually, I think we just let back to basics resolves if they're trying to pull that
Really?
one. I mean, I think we keep the Pyroblast. Oh shit. Sorry, I accidentally clicked shuffle. I didn't mean to. Okay, so that's an awkward click. I think I did want the Pyroblast. If nothing else, for Hull Breacher or something similar to that vein.
Mm-hmm.
But instead, we've got our good friend Lion's Island.
I think we just need an Infernal Tutor off the top, right?
That would be good. Preemptively Veil and then Infernal Tutor. Okay, so we just let this happen.
They found 3 basics, which is really good for them. Preordain, Force. Doesn't look like they want to commit. Oh, okay, they do. All right.
So the hand is Preordain, Force, 1 unknown.
Can you scroll down on the game chat, please? I want to see if they've kept what they're put 2 on bottom. Okay.
Okay.
Right.
So we just say go. And what's quite nice is if they don't find a land, we can daze this Uro. Rebuying our Underground Sea.
I don't think they could cast their Uro right now.
Green. Oh, you're right. Yeah, they cannot.
This Coatl going the distance.
Nice. Okay. So if either. So awkwardly, this brainstorm will walk right into a Hull Breacher if they have a Hull Breacher. So maybe we just have to wait and hope that they end of turn it here.
Do we do it now?
We do it now.
Yeah, I like. Okay.
We found the Doomsday. Great.
Perfect.
Okay, this is good. And we put back LED, and we put back, I guess, Underground Sea.
That's reasonable.
So hopefully on their turn they're going to commit to. They're trying to find the land. Yeah, there we go. And they commit to Uro.
That's the hope here. Now, if this is Hull Breacher, that would not be good.
Okay, so maybe they have Hardcast Force of Will up. Which
Also
actually great for us, hilariously.
Yeah.
Preordain, yeah, that's fine. So we know they've got Force and 2 others.
I think we're using this Veil of Summer as our cantrip into the pile.
It's very likely. So I'm not.
It's really unfortunate they didn't tap out.
With that in mind, I know we still play the sea in case of Spell Pierce or similar. So,
do we go for it this turn?
I think we do, because it's not getting better. Because our next card is an LED on top.
True.
Okay, so they fond pitch Force.
Well, we're drawing this LED anyway.
And basically, worst case.
That's fine.
Well,
that's just for them to cantrip.
It might be, yeah. It depends. Well, actually, if their last card is Hull Breacher, then we just die.
True.
So,
do we daze this Veil?
I think we daze this Veil.
Especially since we have a second one. Yeah, just make him spend the mana. I like that.
Okay, so now we have to hope they don't draw a land off Veil and are holding Hull Breacher. So we'll draw our LED. Oh, but that still doesn't matter too much currently. Okay. So,
Alright.
what are we building here? So if they have Hull Breacher, that's really bad.
We are going to 3 life.
Yeah, so we can't... We're going to 3, take 1. I don't think we can play around Hull Breacher.
I feel like this is a brainstorm pile of sorts.
Yeah,
Like,
agreed.
I don't know if we have to win the next turn.
But I think we do, because I think
Okay.
each draw step gets them closer to being able to play Hull Breacher.
Mm-hmm.
Or they can just play Uro, so we can't pass the turn too much.
So if his 2 cards are Sylvan Library.
That might be interesting. So actually, I think we just go for an Ideas Unbound.
Right.
Because they'll Hull Breacher. If the one thing we can't beat is Hull Breacher, then we might as well just use... We've got so much mana, we might as well just use it all. Really.
Unfortunately, we're playing our land for turn as... We don't have to play Underground Sea as our land for turn.
No, and I think we already played our land for turn.
Right.
This
I'm
turn.
saying for the
Oh
next
yeah, next turn. Yeah, we don't. So maybe we just hold up Reb. So
I was thinking we could okay, so
actually
you've no way to cast this Reb.
It's true. So I mean, is there anything we can reasonably play around without getting too cute? So we could start with Edge into the Ideas Unbound cracking LED. So that means we can crack that means we can crack LED for a different color. No, crack LED for blue. Use this C, so use that for a dress. So that gives us Edge on top, cycle Edge off trop, crack LED, draw Ideas Unbound into Cavern, Duress, Oracle.
We wouldn't have the mana to cast this Duress.
Yeah, because we're casting Ideas Unbound off Lion's-Eye Diamond.
Oh right, I see, okay.
And then we use the black from the Underground Sea. Yeah.
I see the order now.
So I think in the absence of being able to play around anything really effectively, we just do this. Because all the methods that we need to draw Cavern plus Oracle require us to draw multiple cards in one go, and Hull Breacher obviously stops that.
Do we want to put Duress as our last card?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, if something funky happens. Ouch. We can't daze this.
Yeah, and this now punishes us for not dazing twice. So we didn't have Snapcaster on our radar for that line. But that's fine.
Yeah, we live if it's a coatl.
Yeah, I think we have a very good chance in that matchup. I think just in games 2 and 3 we drew a lot of mana sources and not a lot of business. And we also had that misclicked Ponder shuffle, which
yeah, LED wasn't great.
Yeah.
Let's see. Let me see if you've got. I'm gonna take a look at the list again. Looks like we're so focused on the one creature that would get us for sure.
Yeah, I
Some of
mean,
them-
it's
the other ones
very
felt
possible that we should have just dazed it anyway, twice, because we're unlikely to get value from that daze again. So, as the daze is no longer dirty deeds done cheap, I recognize this person from the main Legacy Discord.
Do we know what they're on?
I do not. I will keep this hand because it's got a reasonable balance of cards, although these two are a little bit awkward. But I am going to cycle this Street Wraith first. Okay, excellent.
Ponder's a great draw.
So what I might do is offer the Volcanic for any wastelands that might be around. And I think I'm going to shuffle this. I do kind of want the Duress, but I would rather have the ability to sculpt a bit more over the long game.
I don't think the two other cards justify that Ponder.
Exactly. Hogaak.
Oh, well.
Okay, this is hopefully going to be able to get us a daze. It's not, but does find us a force.
Yeah, their fetch lands could become really, really powerful.
So we are going to force this. Because Crab is very bad for us. And come on. If we draw a Doomsday now? Not quite. Oh, actually,
although we can get there.
We can, but what I want to do is I would like to tutor now for the Doomsday. Say go. Hope that we don't have to commit this brainstorm to them crab milling us. Like if they have second crab, similar. And then if they have no stack-based interaction, we just kill them next turn.
Okay, this altar is totally fine.
Yeah. And I don't believe Hogaak runs forces. So the trick here is to make sure we don't play this petal. And have we played a land this turn? I don't think it matters because we do not have ideas on. Oh no, that's fine because this wouldn't be an ideas unbound pile anyway. Oh no, it would with the brainstorm. But we don't need to beat removal, I don't think. Is there anything else?
Put a daze in the pile.
Put a daze in the pile. Sure. Maybe I'll put Cavern on the bottom as a dead card anyway.
Oh, that's right. We don't have a ideas inbound.
Cavern, Oracle, ID, Edge, Preordain, cast Brainstorm. And they might have days, which would be interesting if they do. Okay, put back Petal, put back Preordain, cast LED. Hold control, cycle bulk, or cycle edge for bulk. Cast Preordain, put Petal on the bottom, put Oracle on the top. Cast Oracle and hope they don't have a daze. Or a force, I guess.
Slaughter Pact here would be okay.
Slaughter Pact would be pretty good. Okay, so BUG Hogaak. Veil is pretty good. Pyroblast is pretty good. Flusterstorm is pretty good. Decay is also not terrible, actually. And there's some argument to that. I don't want to overboard, really. Duresses are pretty bad. As are Thought Seizers, I think. And then I think we can probably take out a Swamp for maybe an Emergency Decay. And we're not going to bring in Graveyard Interaction.
Do we still want Personal Tutor in a mill-based attack?
That's a good question. Maybe not, but we're going to be aggressively fighting over crabs.
Do we want the third Veil then?
Yeah. In fact, I think, yeah, maybe we don't drop a land, but we keep one Personal Tutor in.
Any need for the Force of Negations?
Good question. Fawn does hit alter. It doesn't hit crab though.
Good point. I don't think there are like any big impact spells. I think their deck just has like a wide range of threats.
Yeah.
I think Force of Negation is more for like a Chalice deck where they invest a lot of resources onto one.
And we don't want to be down too many cards, and we're also down some blue count in terms of pitch cards
so
here.
No on the Force of Negation. I think. I do like cutting the discard spells as well. The one of Decay is probably good. I don't know. I guess Decay is better.
It's a hedge. It's a hedge.
Before the pile, but like after the pile, you're probably losing to something anyway.
Well, this hand has a lot of interaction, but not much else, and unfortunately we cannot keep it. This one is fine though, and I think we put back a ritual. So,
quick, have you played any Night's Whispers builds?
I have tried Night's Whisper before. So this might be a crab, yeah. So what we're going to do is we're just going to rev this crab.
Can we afford to wait?
We probably can. Or we can actually just do it.
I think you're right. Doing it now is better.
I think
because
yeah, maybe we just do it now.
Because they can mill themselves for gas. Your deck doesn't have bad lands, so this decay will have to wait.
It's fine. This Volk is casting a Brainstorm anyway, I would imagine. So this is very likely to be Altar. Oh, Therapy. Yeah, this is fine, and this is probably going to name Brainstorm to begin with. I'm assuming if they've got a creature, this will name Brainstorm, and then they'll play a Stitches Supplier or something, and then probably hit the Ritual or the Decay. Well, probably the Ritual. If they don't have a creature to cast now, then this Cabal Therapy is probably naming Doomsday. Yeah. So I would expect them to not have a creature here. Or at least be less likely to.
Them naming Doomsday is a very, very good thing for us.
Yeah.
Well, there's the fetch.
They could be fetching Dryad Arbor here. No. Okay, they do have a creature, so they're gonna hit the Brainstorm, I would imagine.
The Stark Ritual is still pretty valuable.
Yeah.
We'll see. But Brainstorm is likely the right pick. Because if we rip Doomsday off the top, they're in trouble.
Yeah, what you mentioned about the lack of bad lands, that's probably the one bit of the mana base that does be a bit iffy.
Yeah.
With the 2 splash, yeah. And I'd rather run the Volk over the bad lands in the deck to maximize the daze potential, and because the majority of our cards are blue.
Right.
Yeah, so there goes our brainstorm.
All right. Well, our best draw is just Doomsday itself. No pressure from their end so far.
Not yet.
It's always nice when they're trying to play a game of attrition and give no actual pressure. Any cantrip is good here. Okay, that's not a cantrip. Although we did find our 3 black.
Yep.
So if they do choose to take the ritual, we're not in the worst position.
But I'd imagine them to take the decay next, because something like a crab or a altar are going to be much better for them.
So if they cast Stitcher Supplier, I guess we can't cast the decay anyway, but
Yeah,
I guess we could respond to this Supplier on the stack so that they don't have a chance to cast the Gravecrawler. I don't know if that's super relevant.
I feel that's a little bit loose. I don't think we want to be fighting over their small beats, despite the fact that those small beats are what will eventually kill us if they get ahead.
A lot of pensive opponents today.
Yeah, a lot of big tanking. There's the altar. So they could be holding up Veil. So if we try and... Okay, they're not. This is good. Or at least this is fine. So...
Real talk though, do we want to get rid of this Gravecrawler?
Probably not. We want to kill the altar.
Oh, getting the altar is way better. Okay. It's the thing that makes them go crazy.
Yeah, so a little bit awkward. It might be correct that we should be playing the Bayou, but they don't know about the Bayou yet. So we need to grab the drop. And we're just doing this now because of Veil of Summer. And they're going to be on Zombie Tribal for a little bit. It might be they have a Hogaak in hand, in which case I guess they will... okay, they probably don't. Bloodcast. And we probably don't daze this. Ponder, excellent. So Ponder off Volk, because Volk doesn't cast anything. We snap shuffle this into... Did I tell you, again, how I'm very good at mana flooding?
I think we're waiting for a really good brainstorm again.
Yeah. Or the clutch ideas Unbound, I would also be happy with.
That too. Well, it's a good thing we drew that Misty.
Yeah.
They're free to take this ritual.
And I'm happy for them to take this daze as well. Actually, the awkward thing if they take the daze, which they should do anyway, is simply that we will not have enough cards in hand if we somehow end up with being able to cast Doomsday and Brainstorm at the same time.
Could we just daze the therapy and leave them with nothing to take to maintain our hand size?
Very possibly.
It sets us back a land.
Oy.
Okay, well, their therapy just got insane.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Definitely in God Brainstorm mode right now. Yeah, this is definitely a tricky matchup. Do we interact with the creatures, or do we take the thing that... Do we daze?
Oh, we probably should have. I might have... Yeah. given that we definitely should have, just to get like this Volk back in hand or similar, because we can't Doomsday and pass the turn now. Given how many 2/2s they have, or 2/1s I should say. So we definitely need the clutch ideas on Bam now.
The undead goblin pikers.
And if this is an altar,
Oh, ouch.
are we just dead? Oh, we're just dead. Okay.
Fortification does put Cabal Therapy in the exile.
It does. So I think maybe Flusterstorm is a no.
How do we feel about Pyroblast?
Pyroblast I think is fine, just because the crabs are a real issue.
I think we have Decay to cover that, perhaps?
We do, but then I don't know.
I can't think of a lot of other blue cards that we would want to hit.
Okay, so what, we bring in second Decay as well, or instead of? Because I think I prefer. Fluster's better against their therapies.
I think. Flusterstorm and Force of Negation have different effects against therapy, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Do we take... Oh, we could take out Cavern. We don't need that card in this matchup.
I guess. Although we might. So maybe we just try and go a little bit faster this time around. This seems good. This lets us protect against the turn 1 therapy. Oh no, this just lets us cast turn 1 Doomsday. Sorry. What am I talking about?
We could daze the crab, or even Pyroblast.
Yeah. I mean, do you remember your ABCs? Always be casting Doomsday.
Learned that one a little late, but we got there eventually.
Okay, so we can daze the Mindbreak trap when they inevitably have it. So grab the C, cast the pedal. Cast the pedal.
This is when they should be saying, "Come on."
Okay. Right. And are we doing a brainstorm out? Because we are very likely needing to daze something. So I think.
What are we dazing?
We're dazing.
Exactly.
Ah, that's a good point. What are we dazing?
Not Aging Crab.
No.
Not Gravecrawler. We don't really care about Cabal Therapy either.
No. So maybe we're not. Maybe we're just doing Island, Ideas Mound, Oracle, Petal. Maybe it's just this.
I like it. We still have the days backup, so in a way we want them to tap out.
Yeah, and if for whatever reason we can't do all the things we need to do, we still have blue, red available.
Right.
For everything else. Actually, I'm going to put Petal, then Oracle, then Ideas, because we can get the second blue and sort out.
If they go Lotus Petal Hedron Crab, I'm gonna lose my stuff.
Okay, well we've faded the land drops. This is probably discard. So we're not dazing this, I don't think.
No reason to.
And now we just have to hope they don't have Mindbreak Trap. So they should take days here. The other pile we could have potentially thought of would be something like just Cycler's Oracle and something along those lines. So like just go, because they're not going to have removal open, so we just do like Cycler. I mean, it probably should have been a brainstorm pile, just so that we could have this days live. They're tanking quite hard on this, so they're probably wondering.
The days was live with our current pile, in a way.
Oh, they took a Pyroblast. Interesting.
I see.
So I think they're gambling on us not winning this turn.
Huh. Maybe the rationale is that Pyroblast blocks Mindbreak Trap? I mean, but so does Daze.
So they might have double Mindbreak Trap.
That'd be nuts.
Is a bit mean, I think, if they do. Or they could be betting that we're passing the turn again. In which case, if they've got a crab, then okay.
All right, well done.
Sweet.
Okay, I'm gonna step aside for a second. I'll be right back.
Yeah, no worries, man.
Okay.
While Goldricker's gone, I just want to give a shout out to Idle Rooks, who provided the background music I'm trying for this video. So they are a local electronic artist in Bristol, which is where I'm from, and they are also a member of the Legacy community. They used to be a huge champion of meat hooks or slivers, and I've been soundly beaten by them a number of times when I've been foraying into fairer decks. So do go check them out. They've got some nice stuff on Bandcamp. I'll put a link down on the YouTube things. But yeah, thank you very much for them, and let me know how the background music works out in the videos, whether people like it or don't like it or whatever. Okay. So we're probably just not respecting Wasteland again here.
Alright, I've returned.
Sweet. So so we won the die roll, kept a really nice 7, and we are set up to cast turn 2 Doomsday, although it's not protected currently. Opponent, with the Clutch Duress. So, are we in the mirror, do you think? Because if we're in the mirror, we don't want to be brainstorming here, but if we're not in the mirror, and this is like Ant, we probably brainstorm here. I'm gonna take a bet.
I like that.
Oh, nice.
And we found a third black, so that the petal sacrifice was okay. Well, I guess it really doesn't matter. We're dazing anyway, which means we're setting back a land, but
yeah. Okay, so we just fetch C here, cast this Ponder, try and find... I think I like all of this.
Me too.
So we put back tutor, force, don't shuffle, check, just double check about the land drop situation, and hopefully, okay, so yeah, definitely some sort of unfair deck. So if they cast another discard spell here, are we doing anything to that? Okay, so here's Ritual. So we'll probably let that go. And there's a natural infernal tutor. So they're
Looks like
not...
they're just looping
Okay,
mana.
so this is probably okay.
If they find a discard spell, that's totally fine, because we have 2 personal tutors on top.
We do. So,
Okay.
are we just letting this resolve then? Given we have days, we've got a blue card we can pitch. If they take the Doomsday, we just tutor for the next. I think
they can take 4s.
They can take days. If they're going off this turn, they can take days. We're left with a dead force.
They have another Thoughtseize in hand, so they're going off of 2 other cards, basically.
Oh, sure. So, yeah. So, okay. So...
Yeah, but this way we're protected. We've got 1 turn, and they can't do anything about this. So likely, their Nox Thoughtseize is taking one of our counter magic.
Yeah. And hopefully that tutor for Thoughtseize took them a little back on being able to actually get some winning cards in hand.
If I were to guess, they probably have like just another Infernal Tutor in hand.
Yeah, I would say that's reasonable. So we probably don't daze this. Because,
they know our hand.
Yeah, they know our hand. So we just let it happen. They know our hand, and we don't want to go off 3 black. We also don't want to up the storm count at all, in case this is the key turn that they're going off.
Well, it does leave us with but a daze. But,
yeah, I'm not sure.
Infernal Tutor X is my assumption. Is their best case scenario, I should say.
Yeah. Like, they might have a Wishclaw Talisman that they're going to drop now. I mean, they also might just have Ritual Tutor, in which case they go 3 mana, Tutor, 1 mana with 2 mana floating. So yeah, I think I agree with their assessment. They can't really do much. So it might be that they can kill us because we're halving our life total here. But I think it's better to do this than, you know, and put them on dead next turn.
Agreed.
No, I don't want to click Cavern because we might have to daze. And in fact, we're probably dazing pretty much anything they're casting, right?
We'll see.
So they're not running removal. So I'm going to put a force on the bottom. Don't know why.
Might as well use a cycle.
Does it make a difference? I think actually I'm just going to put edge because I don't think having the force in the pile. They've got nothing that makes us shuffle, do they? So
I don't think so. No.
Yeah. So. Okay, and we just say go and hope they don't just ritual tendrils or something along those lines. Like cantrip ritual tendrils would be really bad.
That's a good start for us. One step closer to making this daze effective.
Yeah. I think they made a big mistake taking force over daze, especially as they knew we were going to draw the Doomsday next turn.
Good point. 2 on bottom.
Okay.
Your discard spells can't hurt us. We're okay there. Even better.
So yeah, we just... I mean, there's some argument to us dazing this because they have to then commit the petal or the fetch to it.
Chooses not to shuffle.
Yeah. LED. So we do daze this, right? So because this can pay for days if tutor. So if they have tutor, So if they have Ritual Tutor with this LED, then if we daze the LED, because they can, so three down to one, sorry, 3, 4, 5, 6, so 3, 6, 7, and then down to 5, they can just get tendrils.
If they have a Dark Ritual, Infernal Tutor, we're dead. No matter whether or not we daze.
And if they have Cabal Ritual?
Then we could still daze.
So they've got a lot of good lines they could be taking here. Okay. So.
Oh wow.
So maybe they just found it.
I think they just had it.
Okay. Do they just have tendrils in hand? I think they just have tendrils in hand. Past in Flames.
Oh, wow.
Okay, can they kill us here? So they can pay. So we daze. They pay for daze with LED.
Yeah, at this point, strong count is irrelevant.
Yeah, so we're just dead here.
I think so. It looks like it. Let's see, black.
Because they pay for thing, and then they ritual tutor.
Yeah, they've got it regardless, I think.
Yeah, so we do this anyway. And give them the opportunity to mess up, but I think they've got it.
Yeah, 4, 6, Infernal Tutor.
So, and given it was Past in Flames, I don't think we had an opportunity beforehand where we could daze for value, because they can just cast it with flashback off the LED, right? Because they would. So if we, for example, daze the ritual, they would have 3, 5.
No, it would leave them with 1 short. Wow.
Okay, so didn't
Dazing
play
their
around.
LED play, I guess.
Yeah. Unfortunate. Okay. Fair play to our opponent. They found the line. And we have a good chunk of cards to bring in here. Cavern can go. Street Wraiths can go.
I feel like Personal Tutor is a little slow.
Swamp can go. At least one Personal Tutor can go. Maybe 2. Just do it like that. And we're not bothering Red Blasts because those only hit cantrips.
I'm with you there.
And then main method for Ant for protection is like discard Veil of Summer. So I don't.
Looks like you don't bother with the graveyard interaction.
No, I mean surgical. Sometimes you can just nab the tendrils, but it's kind of optimistic. I think this seems good. This allows us to keep up double veil.
One of Personal Tutor is coming in
clutch. Yeah. So we just have to hope that they don't surgical. I mean, even if they do surgical, we can veil to draw the Doomsday. So awkwardly, we can only use one of these veils because one of these petals has to be the black for ritual.
Right.
So this is probably them representing their own veil, I can imagine.
Maybe a Flusterstorm.
Or Flusterstorm. Flusterstorm would be kind of bad for us.
Yeah, we do need to protect this ritual.
Yeah, although, you know, if we do have to commit both veils, we are drawing 2 cards plus the draw step.
Right.
So we should be on track. Hey, look, Doomsday. That's a good card. So if we...
Would they
really...
have Fluster there, or are they just playing around the days?
Okay, so this delta is actually the nuts that we needed. Because, yeah, if they've got... This is very much showing Flusterstorm or similar.
Quite. I think they were very possibly just playing around days, too.
Yeah, totally reasonable. So...
We could just draw out Fluster here.
Yeah.
Just imagine just a simple Ideas Unbound pile.
Yeah, it could... I mean, they don't have removal, so we don't even need to necessarily commit Ideas Unbound. If they have, like...
I think the one scenario we might need to consider is if we are forced to cast this Veil of Summer on their turn.
Yeah. Then we draw. So maybe we do this. So days on top. Although, yeah, maybe not actually. No, because then if... Okay, so maybe not days on top. Maybe we just do like this?
So I was thinking...
Because we don't need this Ideas Unbound, do we? And in fact, what we could do is just do something like this. So then we're gonna bet on them not having removal. And basically whatever they do on their turn, it should involve a blue or a black spell. So we just cast Veil to cantrip on their turn. And then we just cycle Edge and cast Oracle. Because we'll have 2 cards left. Right? Because we have drawn 1 for Veil, drawn 1 for our draw step, and drawn 1 for Edge of Autumn.
It's reasonable.
And then if they do something like Surgical Us, we've got these Preordains to just find what we need.
Should we do Ponder instead of Preordain? I guess either which way, it's
I mean, this and with this line, this petal is kind of a bit superfluous actually. So this should probably be like a Flusterstorm, or something along those lines.
In my experience, I've found this matchup to be favorable.
Yeah, I would probably agree with that.
I'm not packing Veils right now, but they sure do make this matchup fairly comfortable.
Yeah, the awkward bit comes from if they like thought sees us, we Veil, and they Fluster.
That is the worst case.
That is probably the worst case scenario. So let's see if it happens.
And if they do, I mean, they're trying to do something off of a petal. All right, it's a good sign.
So we just chill. and bank on them not having put removal in the deck.
Can't cast Decay. And if for whatever reason they have like a bounce spell, we've got the Lotus Petal way down, way down in the the end of the pile.
Nice. Okay.
Right.
So that's good. I don't think we change anything up.
I don't think we need to. No.
We just keep in a lot of interaction. Oh, this is almost the nuts. I think
Pretty
we
close.
I think we keep this. Now it gets awkward if they have like discard into Surgical on Doomsday because we're down to Stas's Oracle beats then. But hey ho.
Phew, that's a good sign.
That's a great sign. Okay.
Alright.
So this could mean they've got Flusterstorm up. In which case I think maybe we just chill on Veil. But if they have Flusterstorm up,
I do like that. I think
actually,
if we want, we could.
Actually, maybe we ponder. Because we want to find some mana. We could find a Petal to hold up Veil against Still. And like, if they have Fluster anyway, then if they like discard us, we Veil, they'll just Fluster.
I like holding up Brainstorm. That plays around both discard and gives us a chance to Veil if we need to. If we really want to find that second land.
So we're end of turn Brainstorm, assuming we don't need to commit this Veil. The only problem is with the Veil is that would commit us to finding Bayou.
Right.
If we're going for Doomsday next turn. Okay.
All right.
So I think end of turn Brainstorm is pretty reasonable here.
Ponder is a good card, but I do like it when my opponent spends their blue mana on that spell.
I think we do just grab Underground Sea. It depends. So do we want Trop for Veil or Underground Sea to guarantee this Dark Ritual can be cast? We do have more black sources to naturally draw into.
They're on 6 cards. We could Brainstorm off of a sea.
I think I'm going to risk the Trop, just because we've got more chance of hitting a black source. Which we do.
All of these are very good.
Okay, so we'll put back the Superfluous Doomsday and, I guess, a blue card. And this is great because this lets us hold up Veil for Fluster and hold up Fawn for their turn. Okay, nice. So I think I'm just going to chill because we've got a Brainstorm in hand. And I don't, well actually, yeah, I think just chill, and then we want Oracle, Petal, because we're going to use this Brainstorm, so we're going to pitch Ideas Unbound to Fawn, or because we've got Ideas Unbound hand, we just pitch Ponder to Fawn, hold up Veil, and then we can use either of these, to be honest. They're kind of similar in this scenario.
What about a Brainstorm pile of sorts? So
yeah, we can do either. I think. So what we can do is just grab Island. So we'll just draw Ireland for turn, and that lets us cast either Brainstorm or Ideas Unbound, and get Petal Oracle.
Okay.
Petal, Oracle, Edge, Island. And actually what we could do, or could have done, or still can do if you want. This would drop Veil potentially if they fluster the Ponder, but we could Ponder into one of those petals or into the island, because we've still got a land drop this turn. Yeah, okay. Just keep it chill and hope that Fon Veil is enough.
Feels like it's plenty.
Yeah, and we will lead on the Fon if we have to fight over something. Because Veil should either be the first card you cast in to initiate a fight, or the last card you cast to finish a fight. Our opponent is on a strictly inferior deck because they're still running snow-covered basics.
Hisk.
Okay. So they're presenting a lot of things. A lot of mana.
No, threshold.
And they've just got tendrils, so I guess we just hope they don't have Flusterstorm.
And if they do, we could just
Bravo.
force of negation. Bravo, they say. They probably hate Veil.
Yeah, I mean, I would be annoyed at that as well. You know, if I were playing a Tendrils deck.
Granted, we did have to work for them.
And I think they played reasonably well. I'm a little bit sus if they kept a hand based on just lots of land. But I mean, you saw how much interaction we could board into in that matchup. I think it's going to be fairly difficult work for them post board to try and sort of power through it.
Right.
But not impossible.
I assumed that they kept a hand with tendrils in it. Which relies on the Doomsday player going for a pass turn pile, but I don't think that's out of the question.
Yeah, I mean, it could have been that we just shouldn't have respected Flusterstorm so much, because they only run 2 of them, I think, 1 or 2 of them.
We did give that card a lot of respect.
Yeah, but I mean, it's the only card that I think that we do get blown out by, both proactively and reactively.
Storm is quite the mechanic, isn't it?
Exactly. Have you seen the spoilers for the new Storm card from the upcoming Winning Dial?
Is it the red one?
It is. Now this hand is a bit of a trap, I think. What are your thoughts?
I don't think there's a way we could do this.
I mean, we could turn 1, Ideas Unbound.
Oh.
Hold priority. So play LED, play Ideas Unbound, hold priority, cycle a Street Wraith, hold priority, cycle a Street Wraith, crack LED, and see what happens.
So we're gambling today. I
and-
mean, it's all you. You're more than welcome to do it. It would be very amusing if it worked out.
I mean, I know anyone watching this back, will be screaming, "Do it, you coward!" So maybe we do it for the Vine, if that's still a meme that's sort of relevant. But I'm gonna ship that into a much more reasonable hand.
Thank you.
Okay, and we're gonna throw away this Volk because the Volk is just a bad island in me.
They would have called it Bad Island if they could.
Yeah. So, very likely we could cycle the Street Wraith, and in fact I probably will, just because this helps inform... Okay, I guess we're pondering. I was going to say it helps us inform what our turn 1 play is and what this ponder is finding. I like this. I like all of this, I think. So, we will keep days, I think. And draw force for turn. Okay, so we're against a blue deck. So this immediately rewards us for our our decision to not ponder, YOLO it entirely. Okay, and playing around Stifle there by holding up days. Okay, so we found the Dark Ritual. So we do have Days Force. They do have a mana open, but I think maybe we just go for it. Do you like going for it? Do you like waiting?
We would need them to cast like a Spell Pierce or a Brainstorm for this Days to be effective.
True. So we don't know what they're on.
Not yet. They didn't blink when we fetched.
Yeah. So maybe we just chill and next turn go for it with a mana up for Days. Even if they wasteland us. Okay, so they're being clever on this.
What about a Ponder here?
We could ponder, but then
I'm just speaking hypothetically. Like,
yeah,
the Days could come in handy if they had some sort of like 2-mana counter spell, but this Ponder could find us like a Thoughtseize or something.
Yeah, it finds a second Doomsday. I'm pretty happy with that. So we'll put Misty, Doomsday, blue card.
So we still have we still have access to Force and Days.
And then
we could play around.
If this doesn't go through, then we just cast Doomsday again next turn.
Dig it. This is a good sign.
Two basic islands. Actual factual counterspell.
You've activated my crap card.
Okay, so this is actually really good for us. If they're running actual factual. It's the Standstill deck.
I wouldn't mind if they forced again, just so long as they didn't have another Standstill.
Yeah.
Okay,
so
this is definitely a Cavern of Souls situation.
This is a Cavern of Souls Brainstorm pile, I think. Or maybe not, because they could have swords. I don't think it's an Ideas Unbound situation. Now, awkwardly, there's an interaction with Standstill where if our opponent casts a spell with Standstill out and we draw 3, we could just die.
I'm glad you pointed that out.
So that's a fun interaction that we need to be cognizant of. So we could just... So if they do nothing else, we can just cycle. So we'll put the Brainstorm in just in case. So if they don't play any white mana, then we cast Brainstorm. Then we cycle, cast Brainstorm, draw Cavern, whatever, Oracle, and then play Cavern, play Oracle. Okay. If they don't cast, if they do play a white land and represent something like swords, then what we need to do is draw Street Wraith past the turn, and then Street Wraith into Brainstorm, end of turn Brainstorm, draw Edge, whatever, draw for turn, and then I think we can finish it that ways. So we want to put Cavern believe.
Hull Breacher and Standstill seem hilarious together. Let's hope that's not what our opponent is on.
Okay, so this is now a Source of Plowshares that's being represented, so that's kind of bad. So we're not going to play C, we're just going to chill.
No C? How come?
Because...
Brainstorm?
For the Brainstorm.
Okay.
Okay, so this could be a Hull Breacher they're flashing in which case it's a Brazen Borrower. That's fine.
Okay.
Mystic Sanctuary is grabbing Force of Will. And they're tapping out for Jace.
Do we just want to go ahead and fire off our Brainstorm?
I think we do.
Their Fate Seal won't hurt us.
It won't. So we put back C Edge.
Seems reasonable. Yep. Yeah, especially since they tapped out. They have not presented a second color at all.
Yeah. So it might be mono blue shark still.
Okay, so it is a Brainstorm.
Okay, we get hit for 3, which is fine. Yeah, because I think they're grabbing Force of Will.
All right.
Okay,
well.
and we do in fact have a perfect pile. And if they do have a Slaughter Pact, we can cycle this Edge of Autumn in response.
We just let the Slaughter Pact resolve and hope that they don't have some kind of black source during their upkeep.
Yeah. Okay.
Alright.
So, question here is how greedy do we want to get? So they're mono blue and they're Standstill. So it's like these Pyroblasts are going to do a lot of work. However, they could have Wasteland. Very likely. I'm not sure how greedy I want to get. I would kind of like some number of Veils. Fawn is not terrible because it counters Standstill, counters any other... Like, I think if we're bringing in Fawn, we're bringing in maybe 1. But I definitely want the Rebs. Definitely want some number of Veils. We haven't seen a splash colour yet.
Nope.
Cards we don't... I don't think we want LED in this matchup. Well, that could be a mistake because we could be wanting to win as soon as.
They can't really do anything. So in a way, I could see.
Well, one Street Wraith
cutting.
Is an easy
That,
cut.
okay, that's good.
I think we want to keep the other one in because we might need to be in a scenario where we just don't cast things.
Are we full in on Personal Tutor here?
I think we are. For the time being. Or maybe we... No, I think that's probably reasonable.
I like a Flusterstorm.
Yeah, I would say Flusterstorm's pretty good too. This hand seems great actually. Because we can cantrip turn 1, daze the Standstill. If they play the Standstill.
I feel like it's fairly important to be able to develop on your mana base in a game that could potentially go long.
Yeah, I would agree.
The worst case is we start missing land drops and they just continue developing.
There we go. I think we just keep all of this.
Bayou means that we have a green source.
Yeah.
For a fail. If we end up drawing Pyroblast, then, well, I guess we could worry about it then.
Yeah.
Is Standstill here? We do have the days ready. Well,
blue red. Okay. So we just do this. Because if they want to commit more spells into Standstill, into Daze, that's fine. And we know we're not drawing Doomsday for turn. So the argument could be that actually they're tapped out, so it doesn't matter if they draw like a force off 3 cards. If we draw the Doomsday off this Ponder, for example. Okay, so
Wow.
but this is great. We want all of this.
Totally.
So what order does it matter which order we grab them? Maybe not.
They're not on black, so I like Doomsday in hand.
Yeah. So
Like the only thing that would affect that would be like a Fate Seal, but they're a turn off from doing that.
and if they're Jacing, they're tapping out. Which for a deck that's running actual factual counterspell seems really good for us. Okay.
So what's the play here? Do we go for it? Do we wait?
Kind of like going for it. So we know we've got Petal on top. So what we could do is Ponder to crack the Standstill and maybe try and bait something from here. Like this could be a Spell Pierce. Play the
True.
Petal, Ritual, Doomsday, Hold Veil. Or we could cast. We could just lead on Veil. Actually, no. So we'll.
I kind of before you lay the Bayou, do we want to just pretend like we're short on lands and ponder first? I think that would incentivize him.
So what I'm thinking is, if we play Bayou, Dark Ritual, Doomsday, they stand still, force. We Veil. They say that's fine. Then we can win this turn because we've got Brainstorm plus the Petal that we draw.
We're just gonna assume they don't have like a Spell Pierce or Flusterstorm.
Yeah.
We do have 3 black, so if we end up finding another Doomsday, we're okay. Ooh, nice. So we've ruled out a Flusterstorm. They've cracked their Standstill, and they're digging for 3 more.
Okay, so the question is, do we Veil here?
Good.
Probably
point.
not. We probably it could be a good chance because it might mean they don't have the force, or it could just mean that they want to just switch around their cards to pitch to force. So I think we let this resolve, wait for them to commit a force to it. Okay.
If they do force, wait, are you sure?
Well, they're about to let it resolve.
Okay.
I
see
yeah.
your point.
So no, we do this. Okay, sorry. It's not they're about to let it resolve. It's how Modo works. So Veil, Snap works, and then we just win.
All right. Yeah.
Okay.
Perfect.
So we've played a land this turn. So that's a good thing to remember. However, and they could Surgical us. So we need Oracle. Can we beat Surgical? Petal, Brainstorm into LED. I put Cavern in just in case for later. And is it just this?
What do we have here? Covering Edge.
Oh wait, do we even need this LED? So we just Brainstorm, Petal, to... I mean, this is fine, right? So we're not...
So, I like 4 of the cards.
Okay.
I'm halfway on the cavern. If surgical is the only card that we're playing around, I'm wondering if we can just like replace it with a cycler.
Possibly. I'm basically just banking on surgical. We play around and we don't get there this turn, and so we have to pass.
I see your point. Okay.
Cavern. Oracle. Petal. Oracle. LED. It isn't. Cast this. Cast Brainstorm. So 2 cards, put back. I mean, we could just put back Ponder Oracle, right? Because we've got 2 cards left, 4 cards, 3 cards.
I think they both work. Definitely putting the Oracle
Yeah,
back.
Oracle back.
Between.
And then, I guess.
I think for ideas, if you put ideas inbound back, it's like you draw through your entire library anyway.
Yeah, but
I see, but like for the sake of playing around surgical, I guess maybe that's fine. All right, didn't have it. No Simeon Spirit Guide, please.
yeah, mono blue Standstill seems like it loses. Well, I mean, they were blue red. I wonder if there were other colors as well. I mean, I feel like maybe they were a newer person to Legacy. Like they might be on the Mythic token right now, not normally playing it because the Jace Brainstorm into the Force. I think most people nowadays know that Doomsday plays Cavern of Souls, so if you're facing Doomsday, you're not likely to be able to get the Force of Will value from anything.
What they did there was closer to what perhaps a modern player would do.
Yeah, this seems like a decent 7. Got some protection, got some mana, got some cantrips.
Hand is great if they're on something unfair, especially now that they've gone down to 6.
Chance of the Annex. Okay.
Good thing we have 2 forces.
And good thing we've got graveyard interaction in our sideboard. So this is very likely the infamous black-red Reanimator. So worst case scenario is, of course, they have the nuts, which would be Dark Ritual, Entomb, Reanimate. Currently...
Okay, respecting Stifle there.
Perfect. Okay, so we now have double force days open. So I'm going to probably pass the turn.
I like that.
And then we can pay 2 for a cantrip or duress if they're not doing anything else.
Yeah, the best case scenario is that they do something.
Okay,
right.
So we will happily daze this. Okay, pay 1 blue. Okay.
With the duress up, things are looking all right. Thank goodness it's not a Thoughtseize.
Yeah. I mean, if they
Not
Thoughtseize us, we just let it resolve here.
I'm talking about her dress.
Oh, sure. Because of,
Having like a handful of images.
And I'm feeling pretty confident now about this game. Now that we've got through the Chancellor trigger, stopped the Entomb. So I think if they had cast Entomb on their turn, I would have been. Obviously, I think I would have tried to double force it. So we just let Thoughtseize resolve. And actually, BUG Reanimator is the deck I've beat the most without ever having cast Doomsday, I think. Before, because if you get to a certain point where they're left with nothing, they haven't got the big creature in the yard, and especially post-board, if you've got like the Surgical on Gristlebrand or whatever, quite often it does prompt the concession.
Right. Yeah, this is a great hand for this matchup.
They took the duress. Okay. So
worst decision.
It's pretty good, I think, choice from them, because it means we can't proactively attack their hand, and in their eyes we now have to risk a blue card to I like Personal Tutor here, I think. Personal Tutor, and we'll be drawing the third black source next turn as well.
Did you consider putting it second from top to play around another discard spell?
Potentially. I mean, if it's another discard spell, then they're probably taking a Force of Will. And it doesn't look like they're left with much. So what I think I like is just fetching now before personal tutoring, and then yeah, I don't think we need to commit any of these cantrips. We just let this happen and hope they don't get like a Cabal therapy. Therapy would be really good for them here. Especially if they follow it up with, Ritual, Entomb, Reanimate, or similar. Now they
look like they're stuck on mana, so let's hope that.
I think they've probably got a Dark Ritual in hand, would be my guess. Okay, well, they found some mana. However, we have found a win condition. And our opponent Black Red Reanimator doesn't run removal, does it?
They shouldn't, no.
So what we can do is just put a load of cyclers in our pile. And I don't know, because there is an argument where we could, if they're trying to reanimate a Chancellor, we just let it happen. We just let it happen and ignore everything else, which I kind of like, actually. I think I will put the Cavern in there just because they could find, they could force through Ashen Rider or something.
If they go nuts with Gristlebrand, maybe they come up with a second Chancellor. Yeah,
very possibly. But this still plays, yeah, that's fine. Well, the nice thing about is Chancellor of the Annex every spell. Okay, sweet.
I think so. Yeah.
Okay, so
every...
we definitely want these two. We probably want Flusterstorm. Veil is good. Fawn is good. Discard is bad. Cavern could... Cavern's interesting because they are red, so they can run Pyroblast, and they do have Chancellor triggers. Swamp is bad. That is for sure.
Swamp could be better than Cavern.
Swamp could be better than Cavern. So we definitely want at least some number of this. Maybe we just take out the edge.
Are you pretty set on the personal tutors?
Yeah, it's a non, like, we want to maximize our blue cards for these new forces that have come in, and they are discard based predominantly, so they're not gonna. So if we personal tutor for a Doomsday, they're not necessarily gonna be able to snag it that turn. Yeah, I think I like this. And the nice thing about cutting the swamp as the land, with this matchup specifically, is because a lot of the cards we brought in, for example, Crypt, Surgical Extraction, Force Negations, they are all 0 mana, effectively.
True.
So
good hand.
Yeah, we've got the Street Wraith to try and find an emergency force at will, should we need it. Okay, they do have the Chancellor, so let's just pop that out to remind ourselves. And we have to hope they do not have the nuts again. Okay, it's looking bad for us. Okay.
Could be worse.
Could be worse. So now we're fading Lotus Petal. There is a big argument actually to maybe cycling the Street Wraith in response to looting anyway. Sure. But the Chancellor trigger does put a hamper on anything we're doing. But it looks like we have survived.
We've pitched a land, which is great.
We've more than survived. We've got the turn 1 kill. Because we've got cycle into Brainstorm plus a blue.
We do have to pay for Chancellor.
We do, but we could just throw Crypt away to pay for Chancellor.
And we're just assuming that they don't have any form of interaction.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
The other thing we could do is just take it safe. So we could play Petal, throw away Petal, and then play Crypt, and then Ritual Doomsday, and then Street Wraith into Force.
Not the worst idea.
So, do this. Okay. Nope. And very likely, a successful Ritual Doomsday will prompt a concession.
So we could hold the Street Wraith so that if they choose to cast a Stronghold Gambit, we have somewhat of an out.
Yeah, I like that. So we do it like this. So put Fawn on top if we need it, and yeah,
I like it.
Ooh.
I've always found this matchup to be really scary. So the fact that it's going so smoothly is it's really nice to see.
I've actually found this matchup to be very favourable, especially like because we're packing again so much interaction. Like sometimes they will just have it, but if they don't, like their best hands will always beat our best hands. But
always,
if they don't have it, then we're in a really commanding position. But I do really like your Stronghold Gambit idea.
It's a small percentage, but
It might be a bit
We'll
too... Yeah. I mean, it might have been correct to play around that by just putting, like, Oracle in our hand somehow.
That would have been hilarious.
We could also just, like, cycle Street Wraith and force the Stronghold Gambit.
Oh, sure.
That's probably the better... that's probably the objectively better play.
Otherwise, we're just stuck with the dead card on top, right?
Yeah.
Or we're stuck with the 3/4 and counter magic backup.
Start getting real aggressive. Okay, so they've got the Dark Ritual, so we say, yeah,
Did you put a Force of Will or Force of Negation on top?
I put a Force of Negation on top.
You're saying Hardcast Gristlebrand. Well,
woof. So we just do this.
Entomb, perhaps?
No,
not even.
They've still got Chancellor in hand, so...
No, I assumed that was the Chancellor that they discarded.
Oh, did they...
They
yeah.
looted.
So, do we Force Negation this looting?
We do lose to Reanimate.
I think we do Force Negation this.
We also lose to Entomb Reanimate. So I think it goes either way. This gets them deeper in cards. Thoughtseize kind of hurts us.
Duress actually kind of bad because we don't have the card now to brainstorm and put back 2. Which is kind of funny. So we're going to be drawing brainstorm.
I think we have to fire off this.
No, we just pass. We just pass.
Wait, hold on. Before you do, are you sure?
Yeah.
Because we have on top.
Yeah.
We're not casting this brainstorm from here on out anyway.
We are at the end of their turn.
Okay. Either which way. It's pretty good.
I mean, we lose to Red Blast here.
My money is on them having a Gristlebrand in hand.
Sweet. And we get the 4/1. So that's nice. So
yeah, very nicely played.
Nice and clean. Some unfortunate draws with like a lot of lands on that matchup against, what was it? Bant Control? Bant Uro?
Yeah,
so,
that's right.
So, yeah, so
mostly saw red green.
Yeah, what are your thoughts on the list then, now that you've seen it in action?
The Velo Summers were impressive. Really liked those cards. Wish I could have saw Carpet in action.
That would imply we would have to have played against Delver.
Right. So not seeing Carpet against like even Standstill was interesting.
Yeah.
But it makes total sense. I think there aren't any tax effects that we're playing around.
Yeah. I think if there were any cards I'd change in the 75, it would be maybe switching the Carpets to a pair of defense grids, or maybe something else entirely. Because this is the only slot that is for one specific matchup, and even in that matchup, I'm not sure they're necessarily the best performing cards.
Right.
So.
Right. Their protection isn't just soft counter magic anymore. They've got Force of Negation, which Carpet doesn't do anything against.
And actually,
plus you're exposing the dual land.
Yeah, and it's quite funny because the last couple of times I've played against Delver, it's actually been Grixis Delver. So I've been hit by multiple Thought Seizers, as well as Daze and a Stifle as well. The full hate. I felt quite brutalized, really.
Defense grid should help a little bit. Plus you have the Veil. I mean, I guess it would be a little tricky if you're siding in both Veil and defense grid.
Yeah, they're sort of not great together. I mean, if I was against Delver with 2 grid on my board, I would instead of the carpets, I would probably bring in Fluster, bring in 2 grids, and maybe if it was Grixis Delver, maybe 2 Veils. If it was normal Delver, maybe 1. Maybe not even 1. I might, as I said, I might just rely on the strength of the main deck, stay blue-black, so just have a couple of wastelandable basics of it effectively in my list, and just try and do what Doomsday does. But sometimes Veil is just exactly what you need.
Right, Veil is very effective for this league. Personal tutor. That was something that I saw for the first time in the hands of another pilot. So that was good to see.
Yeah, I've been slowly getting used to them. So my leagues so far, I've done 4 leagues. So this was league number 4. 2 lots of 3-2 and 2 lots of 4-1 now. So pretty nice results with this exact. Yeah, I think it was this exact 75. It might have been the first league I was on 3 Blast 2 Veil, and I switched over to 3 Veil 2 Blast because I faced Grixis Delver a couple of times and the Esper Mentor deck, which has hymns and Flusterstorms, and there was one matchup against the lovely Lynn Chalice, who is a well-known greedy fair deck player. And it was very unfortunate. They played very well, and in both post-board games, so I won game 1, and in both post-board games they had exactly Flusterstorm for Doomsday, with me looking very sad holding either a Force or a Pyroblast in hand, and then Surgical Extraction on Doomsday. And I think it was with Pyroblast in hand both times. So
I see.
Yeah, so that might have been the knee-jerk reaction to switch to Veil of Summer over the 3rd Blast.
I need more Veil. Yeah.
But it's been working out, it seems. So
I think I've seen you playing Limdor's Vault.
I have been, yes. So this is Turbo Zero Respect, and we also have the Zero Respect list, which is where this idea initially came from. Let me just clean up this. If I
It's very close.
Okay, so it is very close, and the mapping to switch across was actually surprisingly easy. So main differences: 3 Petal instead of 4. 1 Spell Pierce main, 1 Limdol's Vault main, and the 4th Preordain. So these would be your personal tutor slots.
Looks like your discard suite is has adjusted slightly.
Yeah. So this one I haven't run this league set, so I probably would switch this to 2 Thoughtseas as well.
Okay.
And actually, I would probably make a few changes here. It's also you'll notice some interesting things in the sideboard as well. So you can see the reflective 3 Blast that I was on previously for the Turbo as well. The rest of it's pretty similar, other than instead of the 2nd Fon, we have a personal tutor in the sideboard. So this actually represents what I can build in paper. So currently in paper, I do not have 2 Force Negations, and I only own 1 personal tutor.
Yeah, that one's a hard one to come by.
Yeah, and especially me being the total weeb that I am, my personal tutor is in Japanese, and so I would, air quotes, need to buy 2 more Japanese ones.
You're obligated to.
Yeah, so
that one's probably a really tough one to find. I'm surprised you even have 1.
Yeah, that was what's it? Revenant Kyoku on the Doomsday Discord. He was amazing and managed to find a really, really reasonably priced copy of 1 in a very good condition in Osaka for me.
How awesome!
So yeah, huge thanks to him. And this here is what I've been penciling in to try and paper should paper events come back to me in the near future. And as you can see, it's pretty similar to the one we just presented, but it's gone up to the 4 petals. It's put the 1 personal tutor in the main. So it's this kind of is similar to your list. So we've got 2 pseudo tutors in the main, and we replace the personal tutor that was in the board with the second Thassa's Oracle.
Can we talk about the second Oracle?
We can.
In the 75?
Yeah.
Some people like playing it in the main. Some people like putting the second one in the board. What is that all about?
So the second Oracle does a couple of things. First of all, it allows you to beat a load of things that you might have struggle beating, such as Elves/Lands' newish tech Ipnu Rivulet. So for anyone not familiar with that card, it's not great, but it says the words mill for on it, and so you can basically use it as a targeted method that can be crop rotation for or Elvish Reclaimed for to attack the Doomsday stack. So what you can do is you can basically put an Oracle on top and an Oracle on bottom, and so always have access to an Oracle.
That's so disrespectful.
It lets you...
People are doing this.
Yeah, it lets you throw Oracles out in... So you put 2 Oracles in the pile, similar to how they play in Vintage.
Okay.
And if they, say, have Stifle, and they stifle the first Oracle trigger, you just play the second Oracle the next turn, for example.
Right.
Or if you can get both of them out early and they have removal, your devotion is still 2 if one of the Oracles survives, for example. It also pseudo increases your blue count for forces by 2, because in the main deck, your 1 Oracle cannot be pitched to Force of Will. However, if you have 2 Oracles in the main deck, you now have either of them that can be pitched to Force of Will. And a lot of people are running 3 to 4 Force of Negation in the side. So if you're in a matchup where you want to maximize being able to have that Force online, you bring in the second Oracle to increase the efficacy of all those forces that you've brought in.
Has Eldrazi been present in the metagame as of late?
Not necessarily aggro Eldrazi, but Cloudpost is very popular.
I see.
However, Cloudpost, I would hazard to say Cloudpost is the best matchup Doomsday has. I think from the stats I've got, the match win percentage is in the 80s, almost close to the 90% region.
Wow, it's pretty high.
Yeah, it's they have so few tools or so few plays early on that are relevant. It's very hard for them to interact with anything that we do. And it's only really like Mindbreak Trap that if you're cognizant that they could have it, then it's very easy to play around. And they don't tend to play Wasteland, so they can't attack your mana base. Their disruption is normally Chalice, which often can be forced or just ignored. A lot of the time, like Chalice and 1, very often you can just be like, fine, turn to second land, Petal, Doomsday, pass, and then they're just kind of looking a bit silly. Chalice 0, which is quite common because they want to get disruption down quickly, but play their tapped, Cloudpost. Again, that doesn't do anything because you just go find Cantrip, find Dark Ritual Doomsday, don't rely on Petals and LEDs. So yeah, I think it's a very, very difficult matchup for a Cloudpost player to beat.
I don't think they play Thought-Knot Seer then, from the sound of it.
They can do, but often they won't play Cavern of Souls. And actually, quite a lot of the time, it's green. Normally, Cloudpost is a green build, so for Elvish Reclaimer, for Primeval Titan, and cards like that. So
crop rotation.
Yeah, so they don't tend to have like Cavern of Souls into Thought-Knot Seer, which is obviously what aggro Eldrazi has really well going for it.
Okay, I thought I'd ask.
Yeah, no, it's good. Good question.
We're talking about the second Oracle, and I figured Thought-Knot Seer was something that.
Oh, and actually, you've reminded me of a great point. It's also good against cards. So do you know what the card Extract does?
I do.
Yeah, so Tess semi-recently, at least for a bit, I don't know if they still do, started running Extract, as did some Doomsday pilots actually for the Mirror. And
Wow.
Extract, for everyone watching, it basically... Oh, I've got to search. I can show you. It basically reads, find a card and take it away. So in this instance, it would be search the Doomsday player's library for Thassa's Oracle and exile it. I've seen quite a few hilarious cases where people have cast Extract on their opponents and their opponent happened to have the Oracle in hand, which is very unfortunate. But yeah, so Second Oracle also plays really well around Extract.
I was up against a deck packing Shadow of Doubt, and having the Oracle in hand was definitely very useful.
Yeah, I saw that. I watched that VOD. That was an interesting deck, quite a hateful one. I think you navigated that very well.
It had both Stifle and
Shadow of Doubt.
Which is really hard to beat, but yeah, the game too was a little bugged out because when Doomsday resolves, I wasn't allowed to search my library. Instead, it just exiled everything, which allowed me to, quote, win on that turn. But in reality, I should have had 5 other cards to get through before.
Yeah, you should have been able to search your graveyard.
Right. Which I had planned for, but it just did a strange thing there.
That was a good exercise in critical thinking, I think.
Sure was. For between Personal Tutor and Limb Duels, well, I'm still trying to wrap my brain around it. I personally was looking out for the times where you were casting Personal Tutor for when you just had the blue available.
Yeah.
But it seems like you were able to cast it every time you had blue and another land.
Yeah, my main concern would be if you ever get into a top decking point where just finding Doomsday isn't enough, in which case can it find something that's worthwhile? And I guess the answer is yes, because it can find Ideas Unbound, which is probably, like, if you're in the pinch, so you've got one turn where you have to try and eke out a win, and you've probably got a load of land, and your opponent has, say, some sort of, like, they're about to kill you with coatl beads, for example. That's the situation it normally is. So they've got some dirty blue control creatures, they've got no cards in hand, you've got no cards in hand, you can't afford to play around anything, and you draw a top deck tutor. Obviously both of them are bad in this situation, but so Limb Duels Vault can find potentially the nuts because they could get you Ideas Unbound plus exactly what you need. Or Personal Tutor could get you Ideas Unbound, and then you obviously gamble with what you get. But I think, this is like the worst case scenario. 90% of the time you're not going to get anywhere anyway, but you can still get the clutch card you need. And actually, this is an interesting point about Ideas Unbound versus Predict, where at worst, in the late early game, this still says draw 3 cards, whereas Predict says maybe draw a card, maybe draw 2 cards, maybe mill the card you really needed.
It's hit or miss, that's for sure.
So
to provide some context, my list looks very similar to what we see here. We shave 1 Street Wraith, 1 Ideas Unbound, the Personal Tutor, and we've got, I think I'm on 16 lands or something crazy.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
I don't play the Ideas Unbound.
Yeah.
I do have 4 Preordains. There's got to be 1 card that I think it's the land. I think I'm on 16 lands.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, but I found that Limb Duels Vault can also find me a Dark Ritual. I found that very helpful.
Yeah,
from time to time.
Because sometimes you're stuck on, say, Basic Island, Basic Swamp, and you've got everything else going for you.
Right. It helps for post-board games. It allows me to find those silver bullets that I might need.
Or sometimes the Clutch Force, if you've got a street wraith in
Totally.
hand and you need to find some interaction.
And it plays very well with the predicts.
Yeah.
I'm on 2 vaults, 2 predicts right now. So sometimes in that, maybe we could call it the desperate late game.
Yeah.
You could set up a nice vault where you can, set up a good predict and maybe have it lead into some high quality cards.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But I'd be interested to. I don't think I'm ready to try the personal tutor, I guess, is what I'm trying to say here.
Yeah,
But it's
totally
definitely enlightening to see like how it's all navigated.
I think actually there's very small amounts of differences between the personal tutors and the normal, because you saw between the quote unquote turbo version and the normal version, the difference is what, 3 cards? 3 cards.
Very slight.
Yeah, it's just in with the tutors, out with Pierce, Limdol's, Preordain, and in with the 4th petal as well.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, it's two Preordain.
The combo pile, or excuse me, the combo turn does vary a little bit.
Yeah.
Because of the difference between ideas inbound and predict. As you mentioned, predict is sometimes just like a dead card. It's just like blue 1 draw card.
Yeah. And it can be interacted with unfavorably with like Veil of Summer, for example, if you're getting a bit aggressive on your opponents. But as you say, it's really good in the mirror.
That too, yeah.
Love,
I like that.
Love that.
A lot. Mm-hmm.
So, right. So I think that will wrap us up quite nicely for now. Do you have any final words or anything you want to plug?
No, I mean, thanks for doing this. This is awesome.
Thank you for joining me. I mean, it's been fun. It's really nice seeing you coming back into the fold. I know you said you're easing yourself in, but
yes,
I think your game sense is very good. Your insight is very good. Your creativity is off the wall, because I still remember that Mox Opal Sensei's Divining Top Doomsday list you brewed back in the day, and that was sick. Love that.
Yeah. Always trying to make this deck work.
Yeah. So, where can people find you and find your stuff?
I'm a little unprepared for this.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I do have a Twitch account.
Yeah.
I do have a YouTube channel that I'm getting up and running. I don't have the name of. I don't have the channel name off the top of my head. Maybe I can get you a link or something.
Yeah, so I will put all the links you need in the description below for this video.
Why don't we do that? I'll give you all the links you need.
Yeah.
And,
but you can find you on Twitch and twitch.tv/Goldrook.
Yes.
And your YouTube, I think, is either under Goldrook or your actual name, I believe.
It's under my actual name.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So if you search for Albert Huang, I will, as said, I'll put all the things down below so you don't have to decipher what we say. But you can find them on YouTube, and you have been occasionally lurking a little bit in the Discord recently, but not a huge amount of chatter.
Yes, I'm here and there.
Yeah.
Always trying to coattail off of the latest tech.
That's fine, I think. Yeah. So. Yeah.
I have to stay updated, I can't do this alone, right?
For sure.
I have to depend on y'all fanatics.
That's crazy people who've got no life. Yeah.
Hey, we're all in the same boat here. We're all trying to resolve this triple black spell, so it can't be too far apart.
We're all in the same madness. Right. But otherwise, thank you very much for joining me. It's been a good little fun, and we had a decent result. And hopefully we can see and chat to you sometime soon.
Sounds good.
All right. Bye for now.
Bye.